interesting question, because you talk about EdTech being an added burden when actually it can create the solutions to so many of the issues that we face during the day, whether that is from a staff workload perspective, from innovating our curriculum and making our curriculum more accessible or more interesting for our students, providing opportunities for more in-depth assessment and assessment that can be done far more creatively, that yields usable data to help us plan the next stages in children's education. So it isn't a burden. It can actually be quite a release and quite a enabling tool that allows staff and students to really unlock the potential for learning within children. I think some of the important issues to address right at the beginning of any journey is to identify key partners that you're going to work with and create a consistency of approach for staff. Staff are often quite worried by the challenge of technology. Standing in front of a group of children and being reliant on technology to deliver your curriculum can be quite a concern. So the fact that we work with consistent partners and have done for a number of years means that staff are familiar with the products that we use, whether that be hardware or software, and they know how it will support them. And therefore, when we get upgrades or refreshes and introduce new technologies, they tend to be from the same partners. And therefore, that idea of being partner agnostic is really important to us, because it just generates a familiarity for both students and and staff that mean that you can progress much quicker. I think the highlights for me over the years have been watching staff innovate and be creative. So I feel my role as a leader is to provide the opportunities and the resources for staff to innovate and create, and not to use technology for its own sake. That's when technology is used at its worst, where you think, I've got this piece of kit, I have to use it, rather than thinking, well, this technology is available. How am I going to extract the most of that to release the potential of the students in my classroom to either accelerate their learning or to create experiences and opportunities that they might not otherwise be able to access? So that leveling of the playing field for me is really important for the students in our situation. But I think in any situation, how you use a technology to make learning and lessons more engaging, more relevant, to accelerate, to make it more accessible, those are the key features. And when it becomes really exciting, when you see the unlocking of potential, when you see students all of a sudden grasping an idea because of how it is delivered, or because they've had to utilize a piece of software to solve a problem, to be creative in presenting a solution, to find a way of collaborating with people within their own environment or even in other environments across the world, and realize that actually that the classroom is far bigger now than it ever was. So utilizing the technology to make it bigger is what is really exciting for me. I think what we do here is very different. How we use technology is very different. And it's a regular thought process for me, because I have new teachers who come into the school and we have to induct them into our way of working. And so the advice that I would give myself is very similar to the advice that I give them, which is be open and almost forget everything that you know about teaching and think about it completely different. Think about not what is the piece of kit that you've got, but how are you going to use it? How is it going to change your pedagogy? How is it going to change how you deliver? And be open to that. I think the idea that I came into teaching knowing my subject really well almost fooled me at times into thinking I knew how best to deliver it as well. And actually that idea that I don't necessarily know how best to deliver it. There are pieces of technology that will support it, enhance it, make it more accessible for the children so that I meet the needs of everybody in my class. Being open to those ideas and not thinking that I know the best way to deliver this. Actually, the more that you see, the more that you research, the more that you go and watch people, the more that you create opportunities for staff to collaborate together and give them the time to look at how they can extract the most out of the technology that is available to them is really important. And it's really very exciting. And I think it's an opportunity to invigorate teaching, to really take those staff who are used to delivering things and refresh it. When we refresh it, then the children feel refreshed. They get a different view of it. They become more engaged. Not to be scared of it. We sometimes look at the children and we think they know more than us about the technology. And in some respects they do, but not necessarily in how we want them to use it. So whether it's social media or something else, they know how to extract the most out of that. But we can help them and guide them in how to use technology to solve problems, to find solutions, to assimilate ideas into a coherent response, and to present it in a way that makes an awful lot of sense. So that idea of being open and thinking, that I can make my subject so much more exciting, so much more interesting, so much more relevant for the children just by using the technologies that are available in a way perhaps that they weren't meant to be. The people who created these didn't always envisage that we would use them the way that we do, and that's where it gets very exciting when you're watching that. I do get a lot, and we do have a lot of people coming here, and we have to be very discerning about what we utilize or who we see and who we meet. And the reason for that is I want to see how it will benefit my staff or benefit my children. It's not a case of, look at this whizzy piece of technology, look what it can do. It's what I will talk to someone who comes and goes, I've got something that's really going to help your children to succeed. That's going to help your children to access learning in a completely different way. That's going to alleviate this workload for your staff. So I want people to solve problems that I may not even know that we have, to come to me and say, this is really going to help an issue. If it's something that's a bit flashy, well, flashy is great, but it won't stand the test of time. Where it supports our processes, where it supports the learning journey that children are on, where it adds value to staff time and creates an efficiency for me. Those are the piece of technology that I'm really most interested in, where it's going to be a solution and alleviate an amount of pressure that might be on staff. So the biggest challenge that staff have is time. Have we got enough time for them to do everything that we're asking them to do in a busy day, in a busy school, in a really busy curriculum? The size of qualifications is growing. The amount of marking that they're having to do is amplified. The expectation for us to connect learning across a series of disciplines and to give them the time to develop is the biggest challenge. So solutions for me that give staff the time that I want them to have to be creative, to be innovative with our curriculum, to give them the time to collaborate with other members of staff from their department, but other departments as well, so that where we've got departments that teach similar themes or similar skills or bits of knowledge, how do we create time for our professionals to learn from each other and to then think about how we could do that better, that will support it, that will create that hook for the children where they go, I remember data handling in geography, and actually it's very relevant to what I'm doing in maths. And how can we support and create time for staff to do that and share the resources and solutions that they've found and the methodologies for delivering, so that the children see the link as opposed to it being distinct and different. So time is the biggest challenge for staff. And if there are solutions and resources that will help us to find more time or make things more efficient, then those are the solutions that I'm tended to lean towards.